Hi everyone, it's Project PowerPoint and we're going to be concluding our series of PowerPoint OS creation. Next series we're going to be working on upgrading your PowerPoint OS and adding more advanced features, but in the meantime we're going to be finishing off. Now we're going to do the apps, which are basically the meat of the PowerPoint OS. It's where 90% of everything happens and where all the useful things you can find in the PowerPoint OS are. If your PowerPoint isn't meant to be very useful, then there's no point indulging too much on this, but there's a lot to get through and there's a lot of different apps we're going to be making. So if you don't have much time in your hands, I would suggest using the skip button, which is the on YouTube, it's the shortcut of the right hand arrow, and of course I'll put some timestamps in the description unless I forget, which means, well, oh dear. But in the meantime, let's get started. Just a quick warning, upon editing the footage and reviewing it, I realised I have been waffling on a lot, so there's a lot of unedited footage throughout because there's way too much footage. So if you feel I'm going a bit slowly, use the skip button. So let's get on with it. Now, the essential concept behind a Notepad application in PowerPoint OS is very simple. All you need to do is add a text box and change the font color and size and text, etc., and the background color, and that's it. That's all you need to do. So in order to do that, we're going to head over to Developer tab and add ourselves a text box. May as well fill up the whole page. Now keep it conform to the UI. Under special effect, we're going to set that to bump like we did before, but if you want to have it flat, that's or different, or you want to keep it at default, that's your choice. The things that you probably should add though, enter key behavior must be true, so you can go to a new line when you press enter. In order to facilitate that, we actually have to enable multiple lines, so we're going to have multi-line as true, and it's a good idea to enable tab key behavior if someone wants to draft up some code. But now that we've done that, we should be able to head into slideshow mode and we can type anything and with no restriction, like we would have if we didn't apply those. So the next thing we're going to do is create the dialogues for font and background, and those are going to be pretty simple. I'm going to again employ this to just create a small dialogue, and I'll be back when I've done that. May have a time lapse as well. Now you can see I've deliberately missed out all the actual options because we're going to add those later. But first of all, we're going to link these two slides up to the original. So first of all, we're going to go to Font, Insert, Action, go to Slide, and we can actually, I've discovered, just type in on our keyboard the slide and it will automatically find it for you. So we're going to go to slide 10, we type in 10, hit enter, and it automatically selects that. So if you knew that already, well done, but I didn't. So then we're going to go for this one as well. We're going to go 11, and these we need to be able to go back, but because all the changes will be done here, there's no point in having them all applied over here, so we can wire that up too. Going to go to slide 9, and just to save a bit of time, I'm going to copy that, delete this one, and paste it there. So now that we've link that all up, we can now have a look at it. Just go to font and add a little animation there, done. And we can go to background, done. And the last thing to do is just to, in your there you can go to font tab, and if you're there you can go to background tab. So we're going to add those there, put them on top, load in the line, so we're going to align them there and delete the one that is we're already at. and then do the same here. We're already on background, so we're going to remove background from here, and let me just align them up properly, like so. So now that will actually go to font while we're in background tab, and that will go to background while we're in font tab. And then when we're done, we can just go back here. So that's the wiring up. Now we're going to actually work on the code. Other thing that we could add is another preview of what we're doing. So we could add this here. We have a text box there, and we could have the text as the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. There we go. Now we'll have that multi-line as well, but we don't want the user to edit it, so we're going to lock it by going to locked, and that's because we don't need to make any changes to the appearance because the changes will come anyway. So we could also have something that shows a preview, like a heading. So here we go, preview. Right, so when we make changes to this, all we need to do to make any changes is to go to slide line again, and then we're going to go slide, which slide are we on? 11.shapes, oh no, not dot shapes, dot text box 1 dot back color equals, we'll just copy this, and there we go. So now go back to slideshow, and if we click any of those buttons, it will update the preview for us, so that's pretty handy. Now for the text, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to have a different macro. So we need to write our macro there. Where is it? There. So instead of change color, we're going to, oh, I didn't differentiate. Okay, change text color, and sorry about that. Now we're going to have slide 9 dot text box 1 dot 4 color instead equals color dot fill dot 4 color dot RGB. I'm using both spellings of color, and I shouldn't have done that. And then slide 11 dot text box 1 dot 4 color equals that as well. And if we add another one of these on the other slide over here, we could do the same thing. So that would be slide 10 dot, if there's a slide 10, yep, there's a slide 10. It's been good today, VBA, it's not messing up its conformity to the slides. So slide 10 and 11, we're going to have it update in the other macro as well, because we want to have it compatible in both ways. So now that we've done that, hopefully it will update both of them. Let's take a look. I'll have green there, and that should also be green. Perfect. So now we're going to have our own color palette for the text colors. Let me just do that. So I made a bit of an error there. I put back color instead of fore color, but that's all fixed. So if we go back into here, we can change the color of the text as well, and that also applies over here. So, well, we had these a bit out of sync as I was debugging them, but I'm going to have the text as, how about an orange or yellow, and we'll have the background as navy blue. So when we go back here, that conforms to it. Perfect. So now we're going to have the font size on like a one of those scroll bars. So we're going to literally just insert a scroll bar there, and that's over there, and drag them like this. Now, of course, we're going to set a few properties. We want the minimum value to be the minimum size that we want, so we're going to have probably about 1, and the maximum size should be about 72 roughly, so we can scroll between those. Maybe we want to change the background color just to make it conform to the theme. Actually no, that doesn't look so good. We'll keep it normal. So if we scroll, we're going to set our code to update the text boxes. So text box, slide 9 dot text box 1 dot font dot size equals scroll bar 1 dot value. So that's when the scroll bar changes, and also we want to have that when it scrolls as well. So in both ones we're going to have the same code when it changes and when it scrolls. And then for the other text boxes, slide 11 dot textbox 1 dot font dot size equals scroll bar 1 dot value. And then we're going to do the same just for slide 10, sorry, but just that's all we need to do. Now we're going to copy and paste that code into here so it's the same in both. So when we scroll, that should change the size of the text. And let's have a look. We can, oh, that's a bit wow, okay, we probably shouldn't have it at 72 then. So if I go back to developer properties and have the maximum value of where does it say maximum value? Sorry, I've completely lost myself. Yeah. Oh, I set it to the wrong thing. Right. Okay. Instead of that ridiculous number, we can have that at 72. Right. Sorry, didn't update. Let's go back here, and that should now. Yeah. There we go. So we can drag the slide. It's a bit slow, but it's worth it. So now, if we have that at, let's say, about this much. Over there, it will keep at that level, and if we want to make it super huge, make sure that they all update. Yep, that all works. So now the preview works for the font size, we're going to do the font style. Now to do this, open up the Visual Basic editor and copy and paste one of the routines, get rid of these brackets thing and change text color to text bold. Now instead of .4 color, we're going to use find and replace. And we're going to find .4 color and replace it with .font .bold, and we'll replace that. 6 replacements are made. Now for these ones we're just literally going to replace them with true. So I'm going to copy true and select all this and paste it in its place like so. So that will set all the fonts to bold, and then we're going to do the same for italic. So italic is, and then we're literally going to use replace again, so we're going to find bold and replace it with italic, replace all, and then we're going to do that for whatever things we want to do, but we're going to do the inverse of these. So we're going to have them not bold or italic, so we're going to have this text bold false and text italic false, and so true we're going to replace that with false. So replace these like that. If you double click a word, it will highlight it automatically, so there we go. So now we're going to type in our buttons. So here we're going to have bold, and I'm going to have that bold just as a preview. I'm going to have italic, that's that. And then unbold, is that a word? I think so. No, it isn't. Okay. Sorry, I had a bit of a... Okay, so not bold then. Sorry, I thought that was a word. Right, and here instead of italic, we're going to have not italic. So we're going to align that up and change that to not italic. It's not the easiest solutions, but it's worth it. Now for this one, we're going to have insert action, run macro, and then change text, font bold true, and then this one is going to be italic, italic, there we go, and then this will be the one that unboldens it, so that text bold F, and this one is text italic F. So now that should apply to all of them. Let's see, that will bolden it, that will unbolden it, that will italicize it, that will unitalicized, and we have bold and italic, and we have neither. We can have all combinations, so that should work there and here and there. So let's just set it to bold italic and see that's bold italic, that's also bold italic, and that one is as well. Hooray! So we've successfully set that up. The last thing to do is the font face. Now we're going to have the same principle because it's there are many different combinations. We're just going to pass the text font of the shape and apply it to text font of these. So let's create a new subroutine over here, and we're going to use one of these because it already has that for us. Right, now we're going to find color and replace it with font. So that will change our object. Whoops. There we go. Selected text, replace. Right, so font to shape. Right, now instead of font.fill.forcolor.rgb, we're going to have it font.textrange.text.font.name. Now we're going to copy that over to these, like so. And for the text box one.backcolor, instead we're going to have .font.name. And we're just going to do the same for these. So now that should work as well. We're going to create our different fonts. So now if we click on any of these, it should change the font as we instructed it to. So now we can customize our font to complete perfection. So I'm going to have that, I may as well have that white, and then set the background to black, and then set the font to Courier New, and set it to not bold or italic, and it looks like code. So now that we've done that, we can go done, and we can type anything we want. So Notepad is now finished. We're going to work on our next application. Command prompts seem the most dreaded thing you could possibly create in a PowerPoint OS, but actually they're very simple. All you're really doing is testing for commands, and if it ends up being true, you end up doing something. That's all you need to do. So we're going to duplicate our Notepad because I quite like the style of text. It's very command prompty, and I'm going to split this in half, so you have one of them for the input and one for the output. So if I type my command in this window and have the main window for everything else, like the output, then that's pretty much it. All we need to do is modify this. We're going to get rid of output and replace font with run code, and it's down to the coding. First of all, create a new subroutine. Sub run command. Now in that says run command, sorry about that. Now run command will take this text box value and test for different commands. So you could use lots of if statements, but it's much easier to use a switch statement. So we're going to, or case statements, they're called different things in different languages. So we're going to say select case slide 12.textbox2.text. So that will like import the text on that, and case, so let's say it's case log out. Then we're going to go to active presentation dot slideshow window dot view dot go to slide, and we'll go to the logged out slide, which is slide 6 over here. So if I literally, you must close it with end select, and once you've done that and hooked it up to this, you should be able to lock yourself out. Sorry, that sounded weird. So I've lots of deleted things there. Right, run command there. So if I say shut down, log out, and run the code, it will log me out. So we need to literally just do that for all the different commands. Now I'm thinking we could have a command that launches Notepad. So if we go, if case is launch Notepad, then we're going to go to slide 9. And you see what we're doing? We're just literally having the case here, and if that happens to be true, it will perform the action here. There are more commands you could add. You could say case time, and we could literally just update this thing here. So in order to do that, you're going to go to slide 12.textbox1.text is itself and our new output. So itself and VB new line, which adds a new line in between, and we're going to concatenate that with using the ampersand with our new time function. So that will literally get the time and add it to what's already there. So we test that out. We can go slideshow from current slide and type in time, whoops, and there we go, gives us the time. The other thing we could do is list all the commands that are available. So if we go case help, now this is something that everybody should do. In any command we should have a help command, so that if someone doesn't know what to do, they can always look at this. Otherwise, well, they wouldn't be able to figure out what the commands are without looking at the code. So we're going to have VB new line, and we're going to put it in a string, available commands, and we're going to have just list everything there. So log out, launch Notepad, time, help, and we could also have clear as well. And then for clear, it's simply to set the output to nothing. So let's add another one there. So I'm just completely making this up as I go along, as you can tell, and literally just set that to nothing. So now we can start testing this out. So help, what commands are there? Oops, help, what commands are there available? Log out, launch Notepad, time, help, clear. So if we go clear and run the code, it will clear everything. Open it up again because I've already forgotten. What else is there? We could test out our time command again, why not? So there we go, it even updates per second. So now that we've done our, oh, forgot that, command line application, we can actually link that up to the apps tray. Now at the moment in the apps tray we've got nothing, so we can add Notepad and command line to that. So we're going to find our button over here, which is application button, and in the apps tray we're going to align that there and put Notepad and command line in there, and we're going to probably set this to align left, insert action, go to slide which is 9 for Notepad and 12 for command window. So after we've done that, if we test it out, it's all wired up, we can go into our applications tray, sorry, over here, and find command line. We can go there, we can go back to the apps, go to Notepad, change the font size, and everything works for our application so far. Now the three main things you find in the PowerPoint OS settings app are customization, accounts, and information. Now I did record something about this, but it ended up having no sound, so I had to ditch that recording. So now we have skipped to this section. Now I'm going to go and work on the customization section. this will change the theme of the presentation, the color scheme of it, to be able to change the look of it. So if I go into slide design to demonstrate and click under colors, I can change the color scheme of the presentation, and my PowerPoint OS updates accordingly. So if I scroll up, this is what it looks like, and wow, that's quite it changes just like that. So if I undo that, we can do this programmatically, but first of all we need to know what that color was that it's all based on. Now the reason why it does that is because all of these shapes are made using this accent color here. If you've used custom colors, then that's you wouldn't be able to do this as easily, but luckily I have, and I can use all these variants of this color, and you could change this color to one of these, for example, and all of these will conform, so all of these shapes will be changed to a different color. Now I need to find the original color, so I set it to this one here, none of these but this one, because this one is what it's all based upon. Now I'm going to go into shape fill, more fill colors, and custom, and note down this RGB value, and I have done that already in here. So now that I've got that, I also need to note which accent color I've changed, and that is accent 6. So once again, go back to Notepad and we'll note that down. Right, after that we are going to do a bit of coding. Now we'll go back into our Visual Basic editor and copy one of these. So the ones that pass an argument like that are perfect because half the code is pre-made for us, but we're going to delete everything except for color.fill.4color.rgb, and we'll cut that. We're using Control X, so it's in our clipboard so we can use it when we need to. Now to move this into another module because PowerPoint was playing up, but anyway, active presentation, sorry about that, presentation, got cold fingers, .slide master .theme color scheme .colors, and then we're going to find our accent, which is accent 6, so we'll go like that, whoops, 6 dot RGB equals, and we're going to find our little value here. So we've already listed it there, but if you haven't, just put it into a little list with commas, and then put it inside an RGB, oh, not RGB, RGB value like that. So that changes the color scheme to the original. We're just going to comment that out so we can use it later, and we're going to actually copy this and paste it here. So now we're going to set it to the color scheme of the original. So that's color dot fill dot forecolor dot RGB. So that sets a color scheme to the fill of the shape, and so we're going to use this later. We're going to copy that, and we're going to use that to add another shape with the value in it. So we're going to find this, and we're going to go back into shape fill, more fill colors, and set it to the values, or we can go straight here and set it like this, either way. But after that we need to make sure this actually stays at the fill color, because at the moment if we set it to that, it will, when you change the color you won't be able to change it back, because this will update to what the color was originally. So we need to go back into this one and set it as a custom color. So once there's a custom color, we can actually apply it. Now we're going to go insert, action, run macro, and oh wow, I've got a lot of these. Where was it? Change, oh yeah, we forgot to rename it, sorry, that's my fault. Change UI color, there we go, and now we should find it in macros. Change UI color, that, right, so now we can duplicate that and have some fun with creating new colors, and I'll be back when I've done that. And now we can test out our customization and change it to all the different colours. Oh god, they look terrible. Okay, these ones look alright, I suppose, and you can change it to anything you wish. So for the remainder, I think this would be quite nice, this one. Okay, so now customization is out of the way, we're going to go on to account. So now we need to enable the user to change their passwords. So we're going to, just like the login, we're going to compare this one with the original password, and if that's correct, then it will lead to the user specifying a new password, being accepted, and then changing it to it. So in order to do that, we need to first of all have a look at which shapes these are. Now we're going to create a new macro called change pass. In fact, oh, whoops, we shouldn't give it change as a name because it would be really hard to find. So password change instead. And we have to have sub at the beginning. Whoops, yes, I forgot. Sub password change and end sub. Now within password sub password change, we're going to compare this text box, which is text box 2, with this one in the setup, which is the original password, which is text box 2. So they're both text box 2. One's on slide 5 and one's on slide 14. So that should make it quite easy. So if slide 5.textbox2.text equals slide 14.textbox2.text, then end if, and if that's correct, it will set slide 5.textbox2 .text, which is the original, will become the new password that they've specified, which is slide 14.textbox3.text. And if that's not the case, then message box incorrect password will have the buttons as VB OK only, and we'll have the title as what should we have the title as? I don't know, error, and that's it. So now that should happen on password change, and we need to set that new button to that. So there should be slide 14. Okay, no. It's always annoying trying to find it from this list. Password change, there we go. Right. So let me get the password deliberately wrong, and I'm going to type new one to be ABC. Now if I do that, incorrect password, oh dear. But if I get it right, then it will change my password. So now my password is ABC. Better change it back actually. ABC 1234. Polite changes. Should also actually add a message box saying that the password has been changed, just in case I think that the macro is broken. So message box password changed successfully or updated successfully, and VP OK only, and information. Right, now after all that, that should work. We're going to do the same thing with the username by seeing which one of these it is. So we're checking the password is textbox4 and the new username is textbox1, and we want to update the username as well, so we need to go to slide 5 and find that the username is textbox1. Okay, that makes it pretty simple as well. So let's go into Visual Basic again, and we're going to create another one. Instead of password change, it will be username change. So username change. Right, may as well have that capital. So instead of slide 5.textbox2.text equals slide 14.textbox2.text, it's going to be textbox4.text, sorry, because that's going to be this one here. And so if that password matches the original, then it's going to We're going to change that to username, and it's going to set slide5.textbox1.text to textbox1.text on slide 14. So the username will update that one over there, and if it's wrong, then you get it incorrect passwords. So that's pretty much done as well. So let's see if I can change my name. At the moment I think it's hi, my name is Bob, and yeah, hello, my name is Bob, and we're going to change it to project PowerPoint. Oh wait, hang on, these are a bit cut off. Oh, it doesn't matter. Right, and then we'll link that up into a new subroutine, which we'll find over here. Username change, there we go. Right, let's see. My password is 1234, and we'll change it to project PowerPoint. If I get it deliberately wrong, 1234.5, then incorrect password if I get it wrong. Username updated successfully, hooray. Right, so if I go back to here, it updates to project PowerPoint. Perfect. And now the final stage is the information. Told you it's a lot to get through. If you're still watching, I do admire your patience. Right, here we go. System information. The last thing is this has to update. Now, this has to update when we actually click on information, so we need to create a subroutine that when we click on this one, it will actually update it for us before we go onto that slide. So we're going to create another subroutine called update info, and then we're going to first of all we're going to set which slide it's going to go to, which is slide 15. So that's my video. That we're going to go to active presentation dot presentation dot slideshow window dot view dot go to slide 15, and then we're going to before that we're going to update everything in the code. So we're going to name this so we can refer to it later. We're going to call this not this one, this is a PowerPoint version. We're going to call this PPT build. Make that GU under case. Right, okay, so go back here, and we only need to update one thing. We're going to active slide 15 dot shapes. I'm going to find the shape name, which is PPT build dot text frame dot text range dot text. Now, first of all, we're going to set it to what it was originally, which is you're running PowerPoint. You are running PowerPoint. And then we're going to add a space there, so there's a space between that and the number, and the version name we're going to concatenate on is active presentation dot it's application dot version. Okay, so finally we're going to align all this up and wire it all up. So and that's it. If you enjoyed this series but were bored to death by the last episode, I do apologise to you. But this is all done. We have created our first PowerPoint OS tutorial series, and next time we'll be looking at making this way more advanced than it already is, like command syntax, and we might add a photo editor in there as well. So make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can keep up to date when that series arrives. Oh, and also join the Discord server in the description. There are two of them. First of all is OS Online, which is one for specifically PowerPoint OS, and the other one is my general Discord server. So, until then, goodbye.